Today, we're going to be playing as Walter White and founding his empire within Rimworld. To do this, we're going to be selling 1000 Wake Up, curing Walters Carcinoma, and escaping the planet, as I feel like it's fitting. Now, I have a custom scenario set up, as well as a mod list, so if you want to play with either of those, they're in the description. Now, we start the playthrough like any other, growing rice and building homes, although we don't complete the construction of the homes day 1. Day 2, we start the foundations of our empire with Smokeleaf, as Jesse does have a chemical interest, and it's a good starting point. We also finish the construction of the houses this day, and with a research bench on the way, we start our first project with batteries. So we continue expansion, building a dining room, freezer, kitchen hybrid, with floors to improve mood, and a drug lab to start the foundations of the empire. Now here we get to name our faction and settlement, so I think it's only fitting to call the faction Walt's Drug Empire, and the settlement Albuquerque. Now things have been going pretty well to this point, but it can't go perfectly, as Jesse fucks up construction, and Walter is about to have a mental break. So to avoid a murderous rampage, we try to get rid of the 8 without table debuff, with some chairs and a dining table. Now luckily, Walter just goes incoherent for a few days, and we don't have any murders. And so we complete the construction of our stove, meaning that we can finally make cooked meals and not have to eat raw rice. And Walt's and Jesse's relationship at this point is going pretty well. We build a wind turbine, as with batteries this will be our main power source, and now we don't have to ruin the environment as well as lives. And also finish construction on a drug lab, meaning we can finally start the foundations of our empire. And so we started with Smokeleaf joints, as Jesse does have a chemical interest, and this is just in time as a bulk good trader comes and visits us. And so we sell off some of our Smokeleaf joints, actually starting the series. Now we jump straight into the hard stuff after that, starting the production of Wake Up and going towards our goals. Walter finishes the research of batteries, and so we go into our next research, smithing. And it seems like Walter has some visitors, as the cancer unit decides to raid us. Now, it's only one man, so we deal with this pretty easily, and we get some go juice as a little reward. And with more raids likely on the way, we start production of stone, as we want to make our buildings more durable and less flammable. And the first building to get this treatment is our battery bank, with our first battery. We sell off 25 Wake Up, giving us 25 out of 1000, and I guess the cancer unit heard as they come to raid us. Now, unlike last time, we're actually going to take this guy in as a prisoner, as he has really good stats that we could really use. And with more people, we expand our business into harder drugs, with Psykite production. And I choose Yayo as it's high quality, and Walter loves the high quality stuff. Now, from that fight, Jesse actually got a cut on his eye, and we'll need to replace that with bionics later. But for now, we build a new bedroom and finish research on gun turrets. We finish recruiting Martini, and now we have more hands to kind of haul stuff around, man the fields, shoot people with a combat handgun maybe. And with more people, we need more storage space. So I build a warehouse, and we get the quest, the Solitary Praetor, which for 8 honor, we just have to kill 1 man hunting rat. And so, I accept the honor with Walter, and the new colonist arrives. But we don't actually have to complete this quest really, as a nearby caravan takes care of the rat for us. After smithing, we go into microelectronics, and we wave goodbye to our Empire friend, giving Walter the Yeoman ceremony. Now we don't do that for a while, but we do build ourselves an outer perimeter and a front area so that we can kind of hold off the raids that we will have in the future. And we've made it about a year in now. And although we haven't made lots of progress towards our goals, we've built quite the base. And talking about that, we actually get to test it out against some pigmen that raid us. The first goes down pretty easily, and although it takes a while for the second, he doesn't hurt us at all. We continue expansion on our base, building some pathways, upgrading our dining room with new stone walls as well as stone floors, and our base is kind of coming together. We also prepare our defenses out the front for turrets, which although we're not going to build now, we're going to kind of set it up so in the future we can use them. And the stress of building a drug empire is getting to Walt's and Jesse's relationship. They're not enemies yet, but they're not on great terms. We get raided by a bunch of imp tribals, which although they don't have guns, their fire breath is a huge problem, and they light Walter and Jesse on fire. Walter and Jesse do eventually put themselves out and deal with the raiders, but it takes a while for us to put the fires out and heal up. Continuing our expansion, we build a little funnel out the front so that the enemies have to run into our turret fire, as well as our people. And we get another raid from the cancer unit that sneak in from the back that was destroyed from the last raid. We run out the front and deal with the raid easily, and we try to chase the high mate down to try to capture her, but unfortunately Jesse shoots her head off somehow. And I guess Jesse doesn't feel so great about shooting someone's head off, as he goes and eats all our meals in the freezer, and even eats some raw food from there. But once he's calmed down a bit, we have him start building a research room as well as an animal pen, as animals keep just wandering into the map. And from an overview, we've actually done quite a lot. We have a bunch of stuff here, including a little crypt, in case people kind of die, you know? We start harvesting some ambrosia from sprouts that have kind of popped up around the map, and a man-hunting man cunts Martini. We try to defend him, but the other man kind of comes and joins in the fight for some reason. And although we deal with this pretty easily, we do get battered up in the process. And although we've had many issues found in our empire, it has come along quite nicely. It was quite a nice base design. But unfortunately, it's not the end of the issues as we get a raid. This is a great opportunity for us to test out our defenses though, and we see that one person gets past and the other two just hide in the back. So luckily, a royal tribute collector comes along and saves us by taking out the two pigmen taking cover. And then Jesse goes on a bit of a smoke leaf binge. But once he's finished that, we expand our front defenses a bit more so they can't do that again, and we finish microelectronics. So we plan out our high-tech research benches, and we get a gift from the Beko Union, a synthread bowler hat, which we give straight to Walter to make him look a bit more fancy. We finish construction of our first high-tech research bench, and Walter jumps straight onto it. Afterwards, we have Jesse build a second high-tech research bench, as Martini has quite high intellectual. And then we get hit with a manhunter pack, a bunch of raccoons. This seemed like it was going to be easy, but they get past our defenses and actually destroy Walter's left thumb. We begin to have power issues at this point, and so we build a second wind turbine so that we can kind of deal with that. We sell off some more wake up, giving us 36 out of 1,000, and then we finish gas operations, meaning we can build our own weapons. The next research we choose is autocannons, so we can have more turrets with those guns, and Jesse ends up getting chased by some timber wolves. Now we've set up some traps at this point, and the first wolf goes down to one of these, but the second wolf manages to get into melee with Jesse. And although Jesse wins, he does get his right thumb torn off, which is kind of fitting with Walter's left thumb being torn off. We get a quest from the Empire to guard a prisoner, and so we accept it for goodwill. We finish our autocannon turret research, and also end up selling a bunch of wake up to a trader that comes by, 60, which is more than double what we'd already actually sold. Now, more of the same happens with more raids and stuff, but with traps and turrets now set up, they're not as bad as they used to be. But what is bad is Walter going on a mental break when there's an infection. We end up having a transport pod crash, and this person's just perfect. Okay, I'm joking about the stoner part, but she is actually a greater colonist. So we take her in, and we sell more wake up, giving us 166 out of 1,000 now. Plus another 4 because we sell some more off to them. Jesse finishes construction of the research room, and now it's fully sterile. And we plant a gorillan tree, so that we can kind of mess with that later. We sell more wake up, now getting to a quarter of our goal, and finish the multi-analyzer, which although we can't build now, will be useful in the future. We start construction on a monument, as the Empire kind of asked us to, and we're trying to get in their good favor. And we finish research on transport pods. We finish constructing the monument, and we can see that it's a pretty big deal if it gets destroyed. So we'll ignore that for now, as we go and reveal the Ancient Danger. This is because we want some materials from inside there, as well as a raid that's coming, which the mechs can kind of deal with. And we actually see that the raiders in the Ancient Danger take one of the mechs down, but overall they don't really do much there. So we buy ourselves some power armor, we equip Jesse with it, and we head over to the Ancient Danger to deal with the mechs. Now, we do get hit once here, but I end up finding a special location where we can shoot at the mech, but they can't actually hit us. So this fight goes pretty easily, and we take down the massive mech. With our new resources we gather, we end up building the multi-analyzer, so that we can increase our research speed and kind of unlock new techs. And we end up building ourselves our first autocannon, which will help our defenses quite a lot. And we finally accept Walter's Yeoman ceremony, as I'd kind of forgotten. So the Imperials land, we do the whole ritual or whatever, and now he's a Yeoman. And with that, we do more research, which isn't that exciting, but it's the main thing we're doing this playthrough. We end up getting another quest from the Imperials to guard another 2 prisoners, which we accept for goodwill again, and we get Jesse to connect with the gorillan tree, as I feel like he's a bit left out with the special treatment. And we also need more defenses, so we choose the Claw as the cast of Dryad, and we continue to expand our base and our operations, so that we can reach that 1,000 wake-up goal faster. And of course, Jesse has another binge. We sell off some wake up to a trader, as well as some extra weapons we had laying around, and now Mia and Walter are lovers, which is exactly what I wanted, as it makes them happier, and it also means we have more room for new colonists. Jesse completes construction of 2 uranium slag turrets, and we get a quest from the Empire for 5 honor to take on 2 raids. So we accept that, as not only is it a way to rank Walter up, but it's also a way to test out our defenses. which as we can see, they do pretty well against the first raid. The raiders don't even get close. The second one, they get a bit closer, but we still manage to take them down. So we send the noble on his way, and Jesse completes construction of a new bedroom in case we get more colonists. We finish research on fabrication, which is our first step towards the late game, and Walter and Mia get engaged, which means they're going to be even happier now. And so we plan out Walter's throne room as kind of like a bit of a celebration of the marriage, and we have Jesse complete construction of that pretty quickly. We invite the Imperials over to do the bestowing ceremony, and we also get to choose a permit because he's an acolyte now. So we choose Cool Trooper Squad, which will help us with defenses. Unfortunately, Jesse has an extreme break risk, and it's not just binging this time, as he goes and slaughters the hen. So we put him in timeout for a bit so that he can kind of calm down, and then we go get the Mechanoid Transponder, which we kind of want to use for extra defenses once again. We finish construction of our main defenses with 3 uranium slag turrets, and then we accept the Mechanator ship, which has a Scyther and 3 Mechanators. The Mechanoids end up ambushing one of our Chlorodryads, so we do have to take this on outside the walls. But we have Mia take on the Mechanator role, as Walter's already doing the Imperial stuff, and Jesse's already doing Dryads. We have a raid drop right in Walter's bedroom, and although this isn't too difficult, it's definitely something we have to be wary of in the future. We get a new quest, Crimson Reunion, where 2 Sanguiphages meet up. Now this seemed pretty easy, and the game even tells us that it's a 1-star difficulty. So I accept it for 47 Hyperweave, but the game lied. Luckily, they only kill the Sanguiphages. And so we move on to the next quest, where we defend an Imperial Crash Shuttle against some Tribals. Now the Tribals' weapons aren't such a big deal, it's more their fire breath, which always causes us some issues, but we deal with the quest nonetheless. And we do more of the same, selling off a bunch of wake up to nearby traders, but also Mia and Walter finally get married, kind of a nice moment between all the chaos. We finish research on advanced fabrication, as well as Starflight basics, our first step to building our ship, and then Mia recruits Grave, a waster. Now, I guess her faction wasn't very happy with that, as they decide to raid us, but this is a great opportunity to test out our defenses, to see if we're ready to defend the ship, and we do pretty well there, so I decide to go visit a nearby faction, using our transport pod research for the first time. And the first visit we sell off a bunch of random drugs to them, and then the second, a bunch of wake up. And with all the money we earned from these trips, we buy a bionic eye for Jesse and have Walter do the surgery for him, which now means that Jesse has a better vision than he had with his normal eye. We get a quest to look after our Imperial for 25 days, and so we accept it for a bunch of goodwill. And then Martini builds a masterwork charge rifle, with art of Jesse, so I feel it only fitting for him to use it. We sell off more wake up to a trade caravan that visits us, and then Dinosaur of the Beaker Union contacts us about the Persona Core, which we'll talk to him about later. As for now, Mia gets the plague, which is an extremely deadly disease, and someone called Nicole wants to join us, which is actually the perfect time, as Mia does pass away from the plague. I did try to save her, and we do hold a funeral for her, but we just kept getting bad tens. So we research Starship Reactor, sell off a bit more wake up to another caravan that visits us, and then have Walter take on the Mechanator role, as I feel like it's a way for him to honour Mia's memory. We sell off more wake up to another true trade caravans, as well as buy some plasteel, as we'll need it for the late game. But for now, we continue to expand our defenses so we can deal with the oncoming raids. And we also send off our Imperial friend, as we've finished the 25 days that we had to look after her. We sell off a bunch of Yayo and wake up to a trader, and start buying new materials for both the ship, and also for some defenses for the raids that are likely to come during that. We finish research of Starflight sensors, the last ship research we actually had to do, and we do Walter's night ceremony so he can now get a new permit, which I decide to do Aerodrone Strike, even though I find out later it's not that great. And so we start to place down the blueprints for our ship, and we can tell that it's going to cost a lot of resources, including a lot of gold, plasteel, and uranium. We get raided by the Cancer Unit once again, but just like other raids, we take it down pretty easily, and we accept a quest to take on a bigger raid to see if we can manage those kind of things. And we also get our first Imperial trader from the Fallen Empire, so we sell off a bunch of wake up and buy some stuff off them, and then the raid comes in from the quest. And this is a breach raid, which is probably the second most dangerous raid behind the drop raids, but overall we do deal with this pretty well, with some injuries. And I decide to give the marine helmet we get to Jesse, as I feel like he's our best soldier, and we continue to kind of just keep selling wake up to traders and buying plasteel and uranium, and eventually we complete our first component of the ship, as we're just trying to get to the end of the game with both the ship as well as all the wake up we need to sell, and we're getting very close to that goal. Meanwhile, Walter and Nicole decide to become lovers, and by this point, Walter's carcinoma is gone, and I give him a right bionic arm, and then Nicole and Walter get engaged. I also complete the wake up goal, which means we just have to escape the planet now, and I decide to summon Diabolus, as I was thinking of doing standard mech tech, but unfortunately I don't end up doing that, and I end up just doing this for no reason. And because of that, Martini gets shot in the back of the head by Nicole. What a bitch. Nonetheless though, we do take Diabolus down, and we do study the signal chip, as I was thinking I was going to use the mech tech at this point. And we hold a funeral for Martini, and then afterwards, we do finish construction of all but one component of the ship, which means we need the Persona Core. So we increase relations with the Biko Union and request the location of the Persona Core. So we head straight over to the location with Walter and his mechs, and the people are already infighting with each other, so this is a pretty easy fight. Walter's mechs, as well as himself, manage to win the fight pretty easily, and we head back over to base and complete the last component of the ship, meaning we're ready to launch. But before we do that, we recruit Hammer, who's a great shooter, and we link her to a Gorillan tree, as more Dryads means we're going to have more defense, and this last part's going to be easier. But nonetheless, we power up the reactor of the ship and prepare to get raided a ton. And it doesn't take long either, as our first raid is a mech raid. And it's not going to be that the raids are hard themselves, but more that back-to-back raids will be an issue, which we get straight away. We have some more mechs drop straight into Walters and Nicole's room, and they destroy one of our turrets. Now luckily, no one was sleeping in that room, so it's not a big deal, and we managed to take down the mechs without any injuries. And we move on to the next raid straight away, which has the leader of the faction. So we go in here for that, and we take down all his lackeys pretty easily, but unfortunately we don't even get to take down the leader, as he doesn't even get into combat. Now we have some time to rebuild luckily, which means that we have good defenses, but then they have a breach raid right after with some mechs. And then another mech raid right after. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, how if we get too many back-to-back raids, we're going to be screwed, as they're going to destroy all our traps. We get another mech raid once again, but luckily Hammer goes on a shoot frenzy, and we take care of it pretty easily. And it was only 14 Militors, so it wasn't too bad. And we finished the raid without any injuries or anything. So we build more turrets, as I feel like we need more defense, and then we get raided by some tribals, which go down pretty easily, but we're running out of traps and resources at this point, so I have Grave go and mine some more steel, as we need more resources, and we build up more traps. And we get raided by a pretty big mech army next, so I call in the Empire, as we have good relations with them, and I get their military assistance. Now they take down the mechs pretty easily, and only 1 or 2 of them die, so they do actually stick around for the next raid, which is really good, as it's a bunch of pigmen, and they decide to set up a siege camp. So the Imperials reach the siege camp first, and then I try to support them, but unfortunately this fight doesn't go super well, as I lose a bunch of Dryads in the process. Now luckily, we don't lose any people, and we do manage to kill them all, and they end up fleeing, but if we get any massive raid, we would definitely lose our base. Now we get to the last raid, so I have Walter use his permit to call in troopers from the Empire, and we set up defenses. And luckily, this doesn't go off too badly, and the first group flees. The second group is a lot bigger, but luckily our turrets are enough to hold them back, and we finish launching the ship. So we have Nicole and Walter aboard, and we have them launch into space, as Jesse was on a bit of a break, and I feel it fitting for Walter to leave with his wife. But that is the end of the video, and as you can see, we lost 2 people, we left 3 behind, and we had 2 escape. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and remember Mia and Martini.